everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Today's video is going to be a lip swatch video. I recently went into Priceline and they have got a whole new range of the NYX lip vaults that they bring out at least at the moment it's kind of like once a year, and they're kind of a collection of their lipstick best sellers and their ranges, and they put them together in a package for you to buy. So I picked up this one, which is their soft matte lip cream collection. So this has, I think it is 36 shades. I want to just double check that. Yes, 36 shades in here, and they all come in the little mini lipsticks, and this was selling for $86. So I actually think that is a very good value for what you get, because in Australia, if you live here, cosmetics are very expensive. Even, you know, in inverted commas, affordable brands like NYX, they actually become quite expensive when they come across the ocean to us. And $86 for 36 lipsticks to sort of try the formula, try the shades, is actually not a bad value. And the size of the lipsticks too, they're actually a fairly decent size, because I don't know about you, but I very, very rarely will actually use the whole tube of a lipstick. I kind of just find a lipstick that I like and I will use it, but I almost rarely will use it up by the time I find another shade that I enjoy. So this way you can kind of have a whole different range in your collection for all different occasions and looks, and depending on what you need, and you can swap it up as much as you want, and you're not actually wasting a lot of money. And they're also perfect for your handbag. They're a perfect little handbag size. So what you get for the $86 is obviously the box, and you get the 36 shades, and on the back you can see that you actually can see the swatches of the actual shades that you can get in the box. So I believe they also had this version in the lingerie collection, but I think that one only had 30 shades, because I think the lingerie collection actually only has 30 shades at the moment, but they still charge $86. So for the same amount of money you get like 6 more shades. So I picked up this one, and apparently there are also a couple of new shades in the box as well that you previously couldn't get. So I thought in this video I might take them out and do a sort of swatch on my lips and also on the back of my hand, just because I haven't tried any of the soft matte lip creams before. I did a blog post last year on their liquid suedes, and that also was in a vault, so I got basically the whole collection at the time. That was on my blog post, so I can leave a link to that below for you to have a look at that. But I thought this year I would actually make a video on it. So first up is the shade that is actually currently on my lips, and it is the shade Zurich. Now I actually thought that it was going to be a more brown shade. I didn't swatch it before putting it on. I thought it was going to be much more of the shade that it is actually in the tube. And as you can kind of see, it's actually a little bit more pinky on my lips. So on the back of my hand, like it's still a beautiful shade, but it is far more pinky than what the sort of tube kind of gives you the impression. But you can see obviously what it looks like on my lips there. Okay, so the next shade that I've just put on here is Stockholm, which is this sort of peachy brown shade, and it is that one there on the back of my hand. It is actually a little bit patchy on my hand, and it is also going on a little bit patchy. These lip creams, they are what they say they are in terms of texture, so they are quite creamy. I am not 100% used to this sort of texture. They don't settle down very quickly. They stay a little bit slippery on your lips, so that is something to be aware of. But they do feel very hydrating and very comfortable on the lips. They don't feel sort of uncomfortable, drying, cracking, and they don't feel like they would be uncomfortable to have on your lips for a long period of time. However, I do think you would need to reapply this throughout the day. The next shade is Tokyo, which is this pink, almost like a bubblegum pink. So it is a much brighter pink than what the actual packaging sort of gives you the indication for. But there it is there on the back of my hand, and also obviously on my lips. I probably won't get a lot of wear out of this particular shade, just because pink and me don't really go. But it is still a nice shade, and if you do like pinks, Tokyo actually isn't a bad one. So the next shade is London, which kind of looks like again, another nudie brown. I, again, probably wouldn't get a lot of wear out of this shade just because on my skin tone it looks far too nude for me. What I would probably do is put a sort of brown or nude lip liner on underneath it, sort of my Essence Honey Bun lip liner, which I've mentioned to death on my channel, and line my lips underneath it to give it a little bit more definition, because I feel like it's just sort of making my lips look very flat at the moment. But it is a nice shade, and I still get the impression that it is a little bit patchy. However, I'm starting to feel like it might be just the formulation of these lipsticks, because they are quite a moussey kind of texture, like the creamy texture, that they do shift quite easily on your lips. So if you do use the wand too much and you are sort of going back and forward a lot, you are actually going to start to shift the product a fair bit. So that is something to keep in mind. But there it is on the back of my hand there. So the next shade that we have here is this really pretty watermelon color in the shade Antwerp, and it is this one here. Again, the tube does not do it justice. It is a different shade in the tube. I don't really understand that, but on my lips here you can see it is quite a bright sort of watermelon-y pink. At least that's how it's coming off on my lips. And I really quite like this. I can see me getting a fair bit of wear out of this sort of shade, particularly during warmer months, so like summer and spring. You can see I'm doing a lot of licking my teeth, and that is because I've had so many of these lip colors so far transfer onto my teeth. So that is something to keep in mind with these colors, that if you do put them on, particularly the brighter shades where you can tell very easily, that they may transfer onto your teeth. So that's just something to keep in mind. But there it is on the back of my hand there. It is just a very, very pretty summer shade. I really quite like this one. It doesn't really go with the look I have today, but it is still quite a nice shade. As we continue through this video, my lipstick applying ability is going to progressively get worse and worse, because I am not very good at applying lipstick at the best of times. So enjoy that. Okay, so the next one that we have here is Istanbul, and it is another pink shade. I immediately was reminded of the shade Tokyo, so I did a swatch of them on the back of my hand. This one is Istanbul and that one is Tokyo. So you can see that they are very, very similar shades. Ooh, twisting the wrong way. There we go. They are very, very similar shades, just that Istanbul is a 2 shades darker, but they are extraordinarily similar shades. So if you were to buy these in the shop as a full size and you liked more pinky shades, I would probably recommend just picking up one, as they are almost too similar to bother buying both, in my opinion. So the next one that we have here is in the shade Athens, and this one just looks like a nudie brown. Like the other one, it's swatching more like a more orangey sort of brown on the back of my hand, but actually on my lips it's just coming across very plain nude. So I don't know. So far a lot of these shades are coming across very, very similar, and I'm not down for that. I don't think that is very good value at the moment. However, like, I mean, I do have 36 shades of them, which, as far as I understand it, is all of the shades in the collection. So the next shade is Abu Dhabi. There it is on the back of my hand, right next to Athens. That one is Abu Dhabi, that one is Athens. 1 shade difference. As opposed to it being on my lips, I actually quite like this shade on my lips. It's just a neutral brown shade. I would wear this on an everyday basis. Even with this makeup, I think it looks quite nice. It's just a brown shade. The next shade is Cairo, and no, I did not forget to apply it. This is not my foundation, this is the actual shade. So this is Cairo here in the tube. As you can tell, it is a very, very nude shade. And there it is on the back of my hand. It almost blends in like a concealer for me. So I think it's very safe to say I will probably not get a lot of use out of this particular individual shade. Just because I am not a fan. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this off. It's weirding me out a little bit. The next shade that we have here is a really bright, beautiful candy apple red in the shade Barcelona. This is a gorgeous, really pretty shade. I actually quite like this one. And there it is there on the back of my hand. It has no issue with the pigmentation, so I didn't have any issues with this one being patchy, and I didn't have any issues with this one at all. However, being that it is a very bright color and this formula has a tendency to transfer to your teeth, I would be aware of that. If you're going to eat with these lipsticks on, that you are more than likely going to have transference onto your teeth. The next shade is this one here in Dubai, which is a very deep brown shade. It's quite like a chocolatey brown. And I actually really quite like this shade on me. I think it looks really quite nice. It is a deep brown, but it is not too deep. I think I can still pull it off even with my pale skin. There it is on the back of my hand. And it is really patchy though. Like, I don't know, guys. I mean, the more I'm getting into this video, the more I'm starting to think that these lipsticks are just patchy. Either that or there is something really wrong with the miniature version of this, because they're coming off patchy and they are just taking a fair bit of effort to actually get them to come out opaque on the lips and not be skipping and have lines. And I don't know what it is, but I seem to have to put in a lot of effort, more than what I think I should. So I don't know yet if this is because it's the mini versions or if it's because it is this particular formula. As I said at the beginning, I have never tried this formula before from NYX, so I don't know. I do really like their liquid suede formula, and they are also in mini. The ones that I have are also in the mini formula, and I really like them. I didn't have this problem. So I'm unsettled on this one. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if this is worth your coin. But I'm gonna press on and keep doing this to my lips. And we will keep going. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we will find a couple of saving graces, because so far in this mix, I just haven't found anything yet that I would say this is 100% worth your money. Like, this Dubai shade is very nice, but I already have shades like this. The swatches on the back of the box do not come off like they come off on the back of your hand. All of those shades look too similar to me, and on the back of the box they look really different. So I don't know what's happening. See, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the shade Berlin. Look at that. Focus, baby. I have sort of semi-swatched that on top of the Dubai shade, but I'm hoping you're going to be able to see how patchy that is. Like, what's going on? It should not be that patchy. There is no need for it to be that patchy. However, on my lips, it's actually coming across okay. The applicator to this one is a little bit weird. Like, it's very thick, almost like there's no catcher working to take off the excess products. Whereas on the other one, like this is the Abu Dhabi one. Like, look how thick that is in comparison to that one. Like, I'm really confused as to what's happening here. It's almost like every single tube has been made differently with a different formula, a different problem out of a different factory. Like, I don't know what's going on. But either way, that was the shade Berlin, and it is a nice shade. Again, I would probably get wear out of this in the cooler months, and yeah, I am getting progressively worse at doing this, but whatever. The next shade that we have here is the shade Milan, which looks like a deep pink in the tube. On my lips, it's coming off a little bit brighter than I would have thought, but it is still quite a nice sort of wearable berry. And there it is there on the back of my hand. It is not patchy, and I probably would actually get some use out of this one, so that's a nice surprise. As I predicted, I'm getting worse and worse at application, but let's not pay attention to that. This is the shade Rome, and it looks actually really dark there in the tube, but as you can see on my lips, it is not that dark at all. It just looks like almost like a natural brown, like a natural berry brown kind of shade. I actually really like this. I would get a lot of wear out of it. There it is there on the back of my hand. And again, it's swatching a little bit patchy, but on my lips, strangely enough, it's actually coming across without too much problem. This is the next shade, which is Los Angeles. In the tube, it kind of looks like it would be a really like dark, sort of almost like a poo brown. Like in real life, it kind of looks a little bit poo brown. But sadly for me, on my lips, it actually looks like my natural lip color. I don't know if that says worse about me or about the color choice, but it honestly looks like my lips on a really cold day without any lip product on. There it is as a swatch on the back of my hand. It's that, oh, no, that one. Yep, it's that one. And again, it's the same story that I keep saying. It was patchy on the swatching. I had to really work with this to get it actually on my lips, because the more I tried to put it on, it was harder to get it off the applicator. I'm starting to feel like I'm going to get a migraine just trying to make these lipsticks work, and I just don't know how I feel about that. Okay, now this is a beautiful shade. This is a shade where I would say to you, if you were in a store and you see this as a full size, pick it up if you like it. This is Cans. So in the tube, it looks like a completely different flame and color, but on the lips, it just looks like a really pretty pink, everyday kind of pinky brown sort of color. I love this. I would wear this every day, even with the makeup. Like today, probably a little bit less brown in the crease. I would wear this every day. I really like the shade. I think this is beautiful. There it is there on the back of my hand. And it's didn't have any problem with the patching. The application was really easy. It was not hard to get it out of the tube. It did not go on streak or anything like that. So this shade was a 10 out of 10. It actually did what the rest of them should be doing. So this shade is another one that is, unfortunately for me, my lips, and not but better, but just my lip shade. I don't naturally have very red lips. I have almost like a purpley undertone to my lips. So this shade is literally my my natural lip color. I, again, couldn't really tell that I had a lot of lip product on. I can tell because I can feel it. This shade is very creamy, and it is actually opaque because I can feel it on my lips. It feels very comfortable. This is in the shade Toulouse, and it is the last swatch there on the back of my hand. It is, again, we might be on the right track finally, where some of them are actually applying nicely and opaquely. Sao Paulo is the next shade. Ignore, like I said, my progressively worse application. As per usual, look at that. It looks nothing like the tube. This looks very similar to one of the ones I had on at the beginning. I can't remember the shade. I have thrown the tube on the floor. But it looks very similar in that bright watermelon-y shade. Yeah, it's a beautiful shade, don't get me wrong, but it looks very similar. There it is on the back of my hand. I would really love it if someone from NYX could answer the question, how did you manage to get the bright shades done better than your nude shades? How? Normally, nude shades are easier. They're easier to pigment. They're easier to get done better. How are you managing to get a shade like Prague smoother and more pigmented and more opaque than you can a normal nude pink brown? How? This shade is beautiful. I had no problem with the pigmentation. It applied beautifully. There was no skipping, no tugging, no pulling, no lines, nothing. It was super easy to put on. And for a shade like this, not that makeup should ever be hard to put on, but for a shade like this, I should have needed to be extra careful. I mean, I'm also at the point in this video where I'm just slapping it on, but I should have needed to be more careful with it, and I didn't. I didn't need to finesse the product. I didn't need to be careful how I applied it. It just went on like it should have, whereas the nude brown pink shades took so much effort and were streaky and patchy and just not very nice to work with, whereas this was beautiful. This was done so well. And there it is there compared on the back of my hand to Sao Paulo. I'm sorry if I am pronouncing that wrong. Again, they are quite similar shades. I mean, I was never going to be able to apply a colour like this without any problems. This is the shade Soul. I'm really sorry. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. But it is this gorgeous purple shade. I would not wear this on a daily basis. And I have gotten it everywhere. I would not wear this on a daily basis, but I still think this is an absolutely stunning shade. There it is on the back of my hand. It is patchy. The next shade that I have, and look at that. Look at that. Monte Carlo is all over my teeth. To be honest, the shade difference between what the bottle says it is and what is actually coming out is actually starting to annoy me. This is a really, really deep, deep red. It's not deep. Like, it's not deep. There it is on the back of my hand there next to the purple shade. A little bit patchy and not that deep. This is the shade Budapest. I think this is beautiful. It is, again, nothing really. Oh, actually it's not too bad compared to what's in the tube. It's just sort of like a deep berry colour. It's the last one there on the back of my hand. This one wasn't patchy and it actually came out of the tube quite easily and very like nice to apply. I didn't struggle with it. I really quite like this one. Next is the shade Madrid, which looks in the tube like this beautiful, like almost ox blood kind of colour. On my lips, it is not quite ox blood. I would actually say it looks more like what Monte Carlo would look like. But instead, it is not what ox blood looks like. But it is still a very, very beautiful, deep berry red shade. And there it is on the back of my hand. It is not patchy and it did actually work very easily. Again, these darker shades just seem to be coming out a lot easier to work with than their lighter shades, which just confuses me. I'm starting to look like I'm doing the apply your makeup while drunk challenge. I'm hoping you'll be able to see here how patchy this shade is. Like that's a lot of my natural lip coming through. And I have tried to go over that a couple of times now. I'm just giving up. There is the shade on the back of my hand. That one. It's the colour Copenhagen. And again, it looks like it should almost be a black red. It's not, even though I have red smeared all over my face. I really like this as a shade. I think it's very pretty. I think if I hadn't swatched 28 other lipsticks up until this point, it would probably look far nicer than what it currently does. I like it. It's just not what the tube sort of gives off that it would look like. And it is a little bit of work for some reason to get on. It is a little bit patchy. However, it does feel nice on the lips. This is the shade Transylvania. It almost looks black there. It is not. It is a purple shade. It actually looks a little bit more of a purple in real life than what it is coming across on the camera. On the camera, it's almost coming across a little bit more plummy, but in real life, it is more of a true purple. It is a little bit patchy, but I kind of feel like if you were to let it dry for a little bit and put a second layer over it, it might be a little bit better. There it is on the back of my hand, patchy. But it is a pretty shade. I maybe wear this in winter, maybe not, I don't know. Maybe for a costume thing, maybe, I don't know. It is pretty. I could see me using it for more of an ombre lip than just like a everyday wear, to be honest. This next one is very patchy and it is in the shade Vancouver. It looks less dark in the tube there than what it actually does on the back of my hand, but it is on like swatching more purple than Transylvania, and it is more purple. It is a little bit more patchy, but if you sort of like blot your lips together, it does kind of fix itself, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm not sure why we need another purple, but we have it in the shade Brussels. This one is far more blacky purple. It's the last one there, and it is patchy. Okay, and the last shade out of the original collection, as far as I understand it, is this one in the shade Moscow. It is a deep blue. It also gets on your lips, on your teeth, also all over your nails. Jeez. There it is on my hand. Patchy. Are we using anything else? However, on my lips, I have to say this actually did apply really easily and I didn't have that much trouble with it. It's transferring quite a bit. In terms of blue, I actually think this is quite a pretty blue shade, although it does actually kind of make me look a little bit sick. Okay, so the first one out of that addition is Cyprus, which is this very light one here, just a very light Barbie, not Barbie pink, but just like a very, very light pink. There it is there on the back of my hand. On the back of my hand, it almost looks a little bit more salmony, and on my skin, it looks far more like pink. It's okay. The next one is this grey colour in the shade St. Petersburg, and there it is there on the back of my hand. I know I won't get any use out of this. This is a very sort of unusual shade. I don't hate it, but I just won't wear it. So the next shade here is in the shade Dallas, and it is almost like an orangey copper, and I actually really like this. I didn't think I would when I first saw it there, but I actually don't mind this at all. Probably not quite with this eyeshadow. I would say probably more with a little bit of a lighter brown eyeshadow and not quite so dark, but I do actually quite like this. There it is on the back of my hand next to the grey shade. And I actually think this is really nice, and it actually came off quite easily. It wasn't streaky or patchy, and it is very, very creamy, and it was easy to apply. So I really like that one. This one is the shade Lisbon. Again, it's a very strange like brown stone color. It's there on the back of my hand, patchy. And I don't really like the shade for me. I don't think it does anything for me. But I'm not really sure why they would create a shade like this in the first place. I don't really know if there was ever a shade to make your teeth look yellow. This was it. This is Las Vegas, very deep green shade. I actually think the shade of this is very, very pretty, though it does nothing for me. In terms of my teeth, it makes my teeth look very yellow. It is a little bit patchy, but I feel like if you let it dry and then applied a second coat, you would get a much better sort of opaqueness out of it. It is still very creamy and it feels very comfortable on the lips. I quite like it. There it is there on the back of my hand. It is still quite patchy. They're sort of swatching a little bit dry almost, so I don't really know what's going on with that. But this is still a pretty color. It's very unusual, but it is quite pretty, and you could get quite a lot of wear out of this coming up into the Christmas party season if you were that way inclined. Third last is Seville, I think, yes, Seville. And it is almost like a purpley kind of pinky shade. I actually quite like this shade. I would wear this one. It is the long one there on my hand. This one actually wasn't patchy, and I had no trouble getting it out of the tube and onto my lips. Comfortable, no problems. I like it. Now this is a purple shade that I could actually wear. This is Miami. So it's a deeper purple shade, but I actually think this is quite pretty. I mean, the application is just horse poop, but let's just ignore that. It is just a wearable sort of purpley berry purple. Purpley berry purple? Yeah, you get what I mean. I really like it. I actually think it's quite a wearable purple. There it is there on the back of my hand. I did it. Okay, this is the last shade in Singapore. It looks kind of a little bit more watermelony again in the tube. But, there it is on the back of my hand. Very pretty. Wear this. Not bad. So that is a lip/hand swatch of all of the NYX soft matte lip creams. And you might be able to tell throughout this video, but I'm a little bit on the fence. I really don't know. Push comes to shove, I would actually say walk away from this product in Priceline or wherever it is that you are looking at buying this. Unless you are a really big fan of a lot of variety of shades, or if you are planning to buy this for Christmas and splitting it up to give to different people. I have done that in the past, and that's actually a really good Christmas trick gift idea. Buy one thing and then split it up amongst your friends or your family if they are really into makeup. If you're going to do that, fine, not a problem. If you're buying it for yourself, unless you are really, really into makeup and you really like 100 different lip shades and you think you're going to get wear out of them, I would steer clear of this. There are shades in here that I would use, absolutely. There are shades in here that I will never touch again with a 10-foot pole. I am not sold on the formula of these lipsticks. I know once upon a time there was a lot of buzz about the formula of these lipsticks where everybody and their grandma was talking about the soft matte lip cream and that you had to run out and buy it, and us Australians were over here weeping softly in our beds because we couldn't get a hold of it because NYX wasn't sold over here yet, or if it did you had to pay through the nose to get it here. And I have to say, I just feel a little bit disappointed after finally trying the formula. It feels really nice on the lips. Do not get me wrong. It feels really nice. It is a soft matte lip cream, so it feels hydrating on your lips. It is not a drying liquid lipstick at all. It's not a liquid lipstick, so it's not drying. It sits very comfortably on your lips. It's quite hydrating. Unfortunately for me though, I kind of like my lip products to stay put once I apply them. I really don't like the feeling of a lipstick that is very movable and shifting. I like to have feeling that I can eat things without my lipstick going everywhere and have confidence that it's not going to go everywhere. Whereas with this sort of lipstick, I know it's going to go on my teeth. It's done it all throughout this video. I know that as soon as I go to eat something, it is going to go all over my face. I'm going to have to reapply it multiple times throughout the day. I'm always going to be thinking about it being over my face and not on my lips where it should be. So for me, that's just a little bit more trouble than what it's worth. If I wasn't... No, I was going to say if I wasn't going out to eat something, but almost every time I go out, I eat something. So that's just not even a train of thought we will entertain. Some of these colors are beautiful and they are very unique. So if you like to collect them, by all means. Some of them I would advise you get them just on their own, and I have pointed them out throughout the video. Otherwise, I would not get this collection. I would not spend your money on it. As I said, I am not sure if it is the fact that these are the mini size or not, but they just came off very patchy. Most of them, I should say, sorry, came off rather patchy, and I just had trouble getting them out of the tube. When I was swatching it on the back of my hand, it came off quite rough, and there just wasn't a lot of product coming out of the tube onto the wand, therefore it didn't want to transfer either onto my hand or my mouth. It shifted a lot on my mouth. It was very streaky. It felt like a lot of effort for putting on lipstick, and that's just not really something you want. I mean, you don't want to have to really put that much effort into putting on your lipstick, I don't think anyway. But yeah, so I'm really sitting on the fence with this. I think the value of what you're getting, so 36 like lipsticks of this size for $86, I think the value of that is good in theory. If you are a lover of lipsticks, absolutely. If you love this formula, absolutely. If you are going to split it up amongst your friends and like give them a bit of everything, sure. If it's for you, take it with a grain of salt, but ultimately it's your choice. I would not buy this again if I had the choice. I would be interested, however, because I'm a sucker, at purchasing the lingerie kit to see what that formula is like. As I said, I have not tried that formula yet. But I have to say, I am a little bit disappointed how this turned out. I thought I was going to like more of the shades. It really, really bugs me, that the shades, for the most part, do not come across the same as what they do as to what like the bottle sort of makes it look like they come out as. That just really annoys me, because when I'm looking for a shade in my lipstick collection, I'm looking at the bottle. Like, I'm going to go, you know, okay, today I need a really deep red lipstick. So I'm going to pick up, say, you know, okay, so I'm going to pick up these 3 shades. Like, I'm going to look at these 3 shades in my collection, and if I say I want a deep red like an ox blood, I'm going to go for that, you know, because that's what the tube tells me that it is. That's not what this color looks like when you actually pull it out. So it's just a little bit misleading. It's a little bit irritating. I could see myself falling for that quite a few times, pulling a color out. I did it this morning with the color I was wearing at the beginning. I thought it was going to be more of a nudie brown. It turned out to be far more pink. And I could see myself doing that more repetitively and getting more irritated as that happened. By putting lipstick on that you don't expect it to be the shade that it is, and then getting angry that it's not the color that you want it to be. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think the actual packaging should reflect far more what the shade inside it actually is. So I don't really know what's going on there. But that is my personal preference. That may not annoy some people, but that does annoy me. That is it for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, let me know if you would like me to go out and get the lingerie vault and maybe do a similar video on that one and give you my opinion if that one may be worth a bit of your money instead of this one. See if it's any better. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you very soon. Bye!